Welcome to Health, Wellbeing and Lifestyle, where experts in the field inform, educate and inspire the community to be healthier, more balanced and live the lifestyle they love. Our first guest today is breathwork and life coach Christine Hart-Savage, and the topic we'll be discussing is feeling lost and the soul connection. Welcome, Christine.
It's lovely to be back, Megan. Thank you.
Christine, how would you define feeling lost for our viewers?
That is one of my favourite subjects because I spent most of my life feeling lost, or this feeling of yearning. I was always looking for something else. When I was a child, I used to drive my parents nuts because I asked them, who was I before I was born? Where do we go when we die? I don't know. There's got to be something else, and they didn't know how to answer these questions. So I tended to suppress them. But I've always yearned, always thought about life since I was very little. There has to be something else. We can't just appear on earth and then disappear. There has to be more to it. And I spent my life really thinking about this and yearning for this other connection, and I didn't even know what I was looking for. But I did find it through my breakdown, through starting to have to turn within myself. I started to open up another part to myself. But one of my earlier experiences, a girlfriend of mine asked me to a particular meditation group when I was about 24, and I'd never been. And we had our little children in a creche there, and we went in to this particular place, and I was a bit confronted by it because there were some people there in like orange gowns and shaved heads, and I thought, what is going on here? And I was really quite daunted by it because I didn't understand that world. So we went in and we were sitting on a wooden floor, and there was this particular young woman taking the class, and she was leading us through this, what I called a relaxation. So firstly, she said to us, look, lay down now. And I laid down, and as soon as I laid down and I was listening to her voice, I started to relax. And suddenly there was a big tunnel, and I was moving through this tunnel, and I felt like I was moving very, very fast, but there was no resistance or anything like wind or anything like that, but moving fast. And when I looked up, there was this blazing light at the top, and I became frightened because I thought, oh, what happens when I go through the end of that tunnel? Will I die? And as soon as I had that thought, bang, it disappeared. And as soon as I relaxed again, it appeared again, and I was travelling through this tunnel. Now, I didn't tell anybody about this experience because I thought it was very weird. So the next week we went back, and the following week we were going through these same type of exercise she was leading us through, and we were sitting cross-legged on the floor, and suddenly, this is going to sound weird, but it's the truth. I had this little, like an umbilical cord coming out of my own belly button with a tiny little embryo floating in the air. And I thought, oh my goodness, I opened my eyes, it was there. I closed my eyes and it was there. And it just stayed with me the whole time. And when we finished the session, we were speaking to, they were swamis, I found out later. We were speaking to the swamis, and I told them about my two experiences. And they said, that's not fair. We've been meditating for years and we haven't had those experiences. I didn't ever go back because I was frightened of what I experienced at that time. So going forward, when I went through my really dark night of the soul, my challenging time in my relationship, I had difficulties with my children, and my marriage broke up, and I had a breakdown. I went back into learning meditation and discovering and uncovering that part of myself. And lo and behold, back came this, what I now know is the tube of light that comes down around you, which forms this incredible tunnel that is part of us. It's a tunnel of light, and we're all connected to this. But I had a lot of experiences that happened that I did not understand, Megan. And I'm sure there's our viewers out there that are having experiences off and on that they don't understand either, or they may be yearning for that connection. So the emptiness I was feeling suddenly started to fill and became a feeling of connection, a feeling of belonging that I had never felt before I went through these experiences. So the yearning started to disappear, the emptiness started to disappear. And I think that spiritual connection, that soul connection as I call it, fills that emptiness inside. And what I've realised is that we are a part of something much greater and much more magnificent than we realise. I started to realise there's so much more to us than we know. And this has been a continuous journey over the last 35 years of me really unfolding these deeper layers, because we're eternal. There's these eternal layers of wisdom and knowledge that is inside us. And it keeps opening and opening and opening to this wonderful, wonderful knowledge, this incredible wisdom once it is integrated into our body.
Christine, if the viewers and I are interested in connecting with our soul, what do you recommend?
Well, definitely to start meditating daily, because in that harmony and peace that you eventually get to, at first you won't experience that. You'll experience a busy mind, but we have to stick with it. Eventually you'll have pockets of sinking into yourself and experiencing a lovely calm and peace and harmony. When we're in that, this energy starts to flow through us. So that when we do enough of that, we start to develop in a different way. We expand, our consciousness expands, our wisdom expands. The other thing I'd like to touch on here, if I may, Megan, is that I had this wake-up call also that I wasn't necessarily fixed. We're not fixed. That I had the ability and the intelligence we're all given to look at who I'm choosing to be in life. I didn't have to be how I was. I could choose it. I could choose my thoughts. I could choose the way I wanted to feel, and I could choose my actions and my delivery in life and lead my life rather than being just blown around by life itself, because every day we could do that and just react and start looking within, because everything we need is inside us.
Christine, that's such fantastic information. If you'd like to know more about feeling lost in the soul connection and Christine Hart-Savage, please go to her webpage on our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au. And after the break, we'll have another interesting guest with another interesting topic.
Stay tuned. After the break, health, life and love coach Heather Belle Murphy is talking about the secrets of long-lasting love. Welcome back. We are here with Heather Belle Murphy, a health, life and love coach, and today our topic is healthy eating for a healthy love life. Welcome, Heather.
Thank you, Kirsty.
Now, can you tell me how the two are connected?
Absolutely, love to. This probably relates more to women and to female clients that I've worked with previously, having worked in the area of self-love and a healthy weight for about the last 25 years. What I commonly find is women will think that they're not worthy of having a great relationship with themselves, and that of course includes food. It's not like a concept where we become, I would do anything for my children or the family and my significant others or my parents or my best friend or my sister, even the cat and the dog, but I don't have to worry about me because I'm going to be the well of sacrifice. And the funny thing is, or the irony there is, of course, that we really need to be the fountain of love. And a fountain self-waters in a way, and it's a really beautiful metaphor where we self-nurture and self-water and pay ourselves that respect. And this is what I really find with women and working with women in the dating sense as well, is that we need to first love and respect ourselves. Now this is a bit of the paradigm that we're in, that we've been in for the last couple of thousands of years, where we're seen as the other. And so we're not seen as the queen anymore, and we don't treat ourselves as the queen. Now, part of the whole picture about loving ourselves first and being worthy and respecting ourselves is that we look after ourselves. And into that whole puzzle is going to be the puzzle and the pieces of the puzzle around food, choosing healthy foods in healthy amounts and consuming, healthy portion sizes. And that will fit into our picture of how we look after ourselves. And then a funny thing to consider is, do we really want to take perhaps bad habits that we may have picked up when we were younger and our metabolisms are a bit faster? Are those habits going to serve us going into our greater selves? Because we're only 20 for 5 minutes, let's face it. The majority of our healthy life is going to be around fitting in with families and, working healthily at a career. That's the big part. The teenage fun years and the 20s, they don't last forever. Let's look at those future selves that we're going to take into most likely, say, committed long-term relationships. And so it's a really great thing to be thinking about the healthy habits that you adopt then.
Heather, what is healthy eating?
You're probably aware that diet has changed and nutritional advice has changed a great deal in the last, say, 25 years. Now that's because in the last 20 years, with the rise of quantum medicine, science and research into nutrition can now look at the subcellular level. So now we have a much better understanding of how things like sugar and fats are metabolized in our actual cells themselves. So that's had a massive consequence for those high carb diets of the 90s, to which I was a victim of. So back in the day, I had a lot of grains. We now know that a high grain diet is quite inflammation making. I was always hungry because it was upsetting my blood sugar levels. So I don't instruct clients to eliminate carbs, of course, but carbs and grains in my diet is a much less of a feature than once upon a time, and it's also going to depend on body type. But as a rule of thumb, if we can stick to things like, I like to say to clients, think of your stomach as being 3 fist sizes. So if you eat that much at a time, you're reserving a third of your stomach to actually move the food around and to digest it. So, that's a smallish portion size for a lot of people, and it does shock people. Now, of course, if you've got a big day or, you're running a marathon, that's obviously going to change. But we know overall people are consuming too much food, and they're often consuming the wrong types, which means not eating food that comes with a skin. It tends to come out of a packet. And everything pretty much that comes in a packet has been altered and interfered with, and it's had added, generally sugar or fat added to it. And so that's a thing to watch, instead of eating food in its natural state, in the right quantities at the right time, in the right way.
Do you have any tips for our audience?
I do. A lot has changed from that eating that where people have to eat 3 square meals a day. I would say find a mentor, even if that's via social media, that you would like to emulate. Obviously though, just be aware of keeping it real. We've all seen the social influencers who were sort of about 20, and it's very easy to look fabulous when you're in your 20s. So look for somebody who's perhaps around your age group. your kind of body shape, you know, because of course we all know there are examples where women are trying to starve themselves into shapes or, you know, impossible kind of supermodel kind of things, you know. And then we also realise that no matter how much, for example, Jennifer Aniston works out, you know, she still wears a lot of makeup, has a lot of spray tan, and then there's photoshopping that goes into that as well. So find somebody, perhaps your age group, your kind of body type, but then also somebody that you may wish to look like or emulate, that carries you into your best future self, by obviously adopting better habits and making healthier choices.
Thank you, Heather. That was fantastic. If you want more information on Heather Belle Murphy and healthy eating for a healthy love life, go to her webpage on our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au, and we'll be right back after this break with another fantastic guest and fascinating topic. Stay tuned. After the break, animal communicator and therapist Carolyn Pope is talking about digital technology and animal therapy. Hello and welcome back. Today in the studio we have Carolyn Pope, an animal communicator and therapist, and today's topic is digital technology and animal health. Hello, Carolyn, and welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Can you please explain to us how today's digital technology helps with animal health?
Hugely. I use a software program that maps over 150 points on the body field. So you can call it the body field, you can call it the aura, energy field. People have been used to that concept for quite a while. But in this case, Peter Fraser mapped the body field, and I'm able to scan an animal and know exactly what areas of the body field need correction. And of course, no therapist is 100% on their game every day. So it backs me up really nicely. Think of it like cheat notes on the computer game. I can see exactly what's going on, if I'm missing something, extra areas for me to concentrate on, those sorts of things. It's absolutely invaluable, and I now scan every animal I work with.
And how do you apply this technology?
I've got a little handheld bioenergetic device, and it emits frequencies. When you get to quantum, everything is frequency. So if something's not working properly, it's simply resonating at the wrong frequency. So this will then unblock that particular frequency and the corresponding meridian. So for example, if I'm treating a lumbar spine, it'll be the frequency of lumbar spine plus the lung meridian and the bladder meridian. If I'm working on the thoracic spine, it will be the bladder meridian and the gallbladder meridian. It will be unblocking as well as that particular frequency. And of course, that's why the acupuncturists used to put needles in. When you unblock the energy and get the energy flowing, that's good health and less pain. It's absolutely fascinating. And once I've scanned an animal, which takes 3 seconds, so it's great for cats, I can work on an animal without actually touching it, just using this handheld device. And particularly with cats or an animal that's really traumatized, when we had the bushfires, we were able to do a lot and help a lot. And for wildlife, birds, these sorts of things, it's just amazing technology, and it really helps in a non-invasive way. And the less stressed the animal is and the less pain the animal's in, obviously the quicker they're going to heal. I started with one of my own cats. It's always your own animals you do first. She was having pain-killing injections every second day. You couldn't pick her up. And we pretty much thought it was the end of the road, scanned her, and within an hour, she hadn't been able to use the litter. She was only able to defecate every 3rd or 4th day. It was just a disaster. And because she was so sore, within an hour, she'd use the litter. She was 100% until the day we euthanized her. She never needed another painkiller. That got my attention instantaneously. And then later down the track, one of my own animals, my Anatolian, for those that don't know, they're about 60, 65 kilo. They're a livestock guardian. He was 4. We now know he had a brain tumour. We didn't at the time, but he'd become really dangerous to the point that I'd actually separated the cats out of the room because I was so worried he was going to kill them. And his euthanasia had been scheduled the next day. I picked up my little handheld device because desperate people do desperate things. There were 5 brain settings on it. I used it. He lay down, he went to sleep, which he hadn't been able to do, got up and started to play for the first time in 6 months. Right, okay, cancelled the euthanasia. At first it was every second day. I used the machine, he was fine. Ultimately, as the disease progressed, it got down to every 3 hours, day and night. And that gave me nearly 4 months that I hadn't realised how many favours I could pull, both nationally and internationally. But there are some things you can't fix, and a brain tumour is one of them. But it gave me 4 months of quality for both of us before we had to make that decision. And that was just huge. He was safe around me. He was pain-free. Couldn't ask for more. You can't save everything, but you can give them quality while you have them.
And does it cover all sorts of ailments?
Absolutely. It maps the brain with people, the German new medicine of the brain, the emotions. It does the meridians, how much energy the body is or isn't pulling in. It maps the immune system. It's fascinating stuff.
And what advice can you give our animal lovers out there in terms of the health of their animals?
When you see something or you think they're not quite right, that's when you want to treat something. You don't want to wait. You think of an animal, oh, they're a bit flat and it's been more than 24 hours. That's when you want to get onto it, not waiting till the dog actually growls at the child or whatever because they've been in pain for 2 weeks. Or if they miss more than one meal. Again, why? Being proactive rather than reactive makes a huge, huge difference in the quality and also how quickly. The quicker you pick up something, the quicker the animal's going to heal. Same with us. So getting on top of it early rather than dragging it out, oh, but I can't get there for 3 weeks or whatever, makes such a difference to the quality of the animal's life.
Oh, thank you so much. That's great advice. If you want to learn more about Carolyn Pope and digital technology for animal health, go to her webpage on our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au. That is our show for today. Please join us next week for some more great guests and fascinating topics.
If you'd like to know more about our show, please like our Facebook page and also subscribe to our YouTube channel.